Hi everyone, I'm Becca of Sing Free Vocal Yoga, and I am a vocal technique teacher primarily and vocal yoga teacher. However, today we will be focusing on musicianship and how to read music for beginners. So this video will be great for both kids and adults, and my intention is to support my students and everyone who finds this channel in mindfully exploring the beginning of your reading music journey. So oftentimes my students will get a little bit intimidated by sheet music, but I'd like to first start off by reminding you that this is not the music. This is just a roadmap, right? The music is what we create in the moment, and it's different every time. But this is just a way of the composer, the songwriter, it's the way for them to express what they intend, and then we as singers interpret that. So this is a roadmap. This is just a way for us to start to get to know these different songs, these pieces that will be our friends. But first, we just have to start to get to know them little by little. So I encourage you to take your time with it, remain curious, practice curiosity rather than judgment. And I'm going to give you some tools today that will help you get started on your journey. So first of all, this is called the grand staff. And for today, mostly we will be looking at just the upper part of the grand staff. So the treble clef, this fun little swirly thing, is called a treble clef. And can you guess what fancy letter of the alphabet does this look like? What if I write it like this? Kind of looks like a fancy letter G, right? So that is correct. This is intended to look like a G. Originally, it's a fancy G, and it's swirling around that line, which is the note G. So let's back up just for a moment, and maybe we don't already know that notes have letters assigned to them, right? So the musical alphabet just goes until G. So just over and over, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so it just starts over again. Once you get to G, starts over again at A. And these notes can be on lines or spaces, and in this case, the treble clef is indicating where the G line is. This is just orienting us, okay? And then you can figure out just from that where the other notes are, but there's also some fun tricks for us to know about the treble clef. So the lines of the treble clef have a fun little acronym associated. So here's the E line, G, B, D, and F is the top line. And there's this very common acronym, which is every good boy does fine, or deserves fudge. And then the spaces of the treble clef spell bass. How easy is that? So that's pretty easy to remember, and that way we can name the note. So that's helpful to a point, right? We get to know what the note is named. And then if I say to you, for instance, here's that letter G, that note G in treble clef, and it sounds like this. And then I say, now sing this next note. Then what do? So here's the next thing. We need to know whether the note is going up or down, and you can tell here in this case it's going up. And then we need to know, is it stepping up or is it skipping up? So notes that go from, when it goes from a line to a space, the very next space, that is a step. Okay, when it goes from a note that's on the line, meaning the line is going right through it, and then it goes to that very next line up. That might kind of look like a step, but it's actually a skip because it's skipping that space note that would be in between. Okay, so this sounds like this. There's that step, and we can start to get used to that sound. Stepping up, and then here's what that skip sounds like. Okay, so keep that in mind. Are the notes going up or down? Are they stepping or skipping up or down? Here's one more example from G down to F. Stepping down. Okay, so let's just stay curious about whether the notes are going up or down, whether they're stepping or skipping, and doing something that is corresponding with that, with your voice. And in that way, just let yourself start to find your way, allow yourself to make mistakes, and keep in mind that this is, again, a roadmap. So we don't have to really try and get it right really hard. Let's stay mindful and curious. So one other fun fact is that if you think of the treble clef and bass clef as one unit, I find that to be very helpful, especially if you're planning to play piano or if you are a lower voice going to sing in bass clef. It's good to start to get to know the bass clef and keep in mind that these notes are higher, these are lower, it's all connected. Right in the middle is this note that gets its own special line, and that's middle C. Okay, so keep in mind that the keyboard can correspond with those higher notes and lower notes, right? If you kind of orient it that way in your thinking. So I think that's all we're going to talk about today. Oh, one other fun little thing to remember. What fancy letter of the alphabet does the bass clef look like? What if I turn these dots into lines? That's right, it looks like an F. And so the bass clef is telling us where the F line is. Okay, so stay curious, keep exploring. Most voices are going to be singing mainly in treble clef unless you are a bass or bass baritone. Even tenors who sing lower than sopranos and altos who sing in this range, or children who sing in this range, even tenors will sing with treble clef even if they're singing down here, because oftentimes there will be a little 8 that appears, and that is indicating that we are singing these notes but down the octave. And an octave is simply when you have the same note, but it's actually, if you were to pluck a string and then divide that string in half, it would vibrate at exactly twice the frequency, and that would be 1 octave. So here's what an octave sounds like. So here I'll play an octave F. Here is your F in bass clef, and here is your F in treble clef, 1 octave up. F. There's your treble clef F. And I can barely sing the bass clef F. Okay, and then there's an F up here too. All right, so keep exploring. Now we know how to name the notes or figure out the notes' names. We are starting to notice the relationship between the notes. And in the next video, we'll talk more about intervals between the notes, and we'll explore some rhythm notation as well. Okay, have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing if you feel called to do so. And please do check out my other videos and click below in the description to find my website. All right, take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye.